Hello. I've wanted to rant for a while now, as I've been stuck in a rut for quite a bit now. And I know it won't always be like this, and I'm actively trying to do something, at least all that I can do, to get out of it. And I have done progress. I make music, I try to learn new skills, and there's enough merit there. But I just end up facing the same wall at the end, or at least that's how it feels like. And a very common thing most people are told is that everyone will make it out eventually. Everyone will eventually find their way. And I found a lot of comfort in that, especially as a lot of people that I looked up to said it. So I think you can understand how horrified I was when I kind of hit the realization that that's just survivorship bias. Yes, you do see those who eventually make it because those are the only ones you see. And I guess you can understand how I was just horrified to make war to realize that, because now it isn't as comforting as it once was. And I'm lucky enough that I'm healthy and I'm okay, and that I have wounds in my brain that force me to each and every day want to make something new, or at least I always have something I'm looking forward to each day. And my poison of choice is music, and I never fail to just make something, a tiny snippet, or just learn something new that just makes me feel so empowered, or that what I make actually starts to sound kind of good, or at least something I'd enjoy to listen to. That just keeps me wanting to continue and to thrive and just to never stop, because it's such, not an addictive process, but it's just such a thrilling process to create something that's inherently human and hopefully beautiful. So I don't know what I'd do if that were robbed from me, and most likely I'd just go insane, but that's a side of it. Hey, not too long ago I had two major noises that I had to deal with. I've had the common cold, and my PC storage unit, or the SSD, started to actively fail. So I had two things I had to resolve, both quite annoying, although one was more annoying than the other, that actively ruined my mood and didn't just made me not want to exist, which was just having the common cold, of course. And it just makes me think of how we ended up here, where those who were meant to look out for my best interest and for those who voted for them just end up in a situation where I'd replaced the piece, but it didn't really feel like I was getting an upgrade. It just felt like I was getting a slight fix for something that I relied on a lot, as that's where I really know most of my skill set and where I actively learn. So it just didn't really feel like an upgrade, it just felt like it was just a slight step. And maybe if there was more of a justified reason for it, where it was actively benefiting everyone in a way where maybe chronic pain would get reduced or just eliminated, or illnesses would get outright removed from being even a variable about living or dying, maybe then you'd understand the point of why everything was so expensive. It isn't, and I know it just sounds like one more person just whining about expensive computer parts, but it's not just that, is it? Because cost of living is just skyrocketing, and there's really no sign it'll ever go to something normal or healthy, or even something that could ever benefit us. Because instead of actually getting rid of something like the common cold, which is annoying, we developed something that's just ever self-consuming that will only ever benefit those few just to consume and cannibalize itself like an Ouroboros. And don't get me wrong, there has been a lot of benefits. There's a lot of medicine advancements like protein identification, genome identification, which we probably couldn't have been able to do without artificial intelligence. That just makes me think that's more of a side project that helps us as everyday civilians, I guess, instead of actually being the end goal of this. And even if we were able to get artificial general intelligence, it just makes me think of this one video from Simple Conversations about being more of skits than anything, but we just didn't give the AI enough training data to actually solve our problems like health issues, because we trained it to make an ever-consuming product, and eventually it's just going to create a product that no one will consume, looping on forever, never, never. Eventually just getting to a scenario where culture just exists to cannibalize itself for someone that'll never consume it. And I just ask, what's the point? That, and yeah, it's just a means to an end. So everyone, if you're watching this, yeah, you already know that it's just a means to an end. It doesn't actually help in the process. It's not a utility. It's not just an end point. And there's those who might argue that it has its benefits for whatever reason, but it's just replacing the thrill of actually creating, actually learning, actually testing yourself just to make something beautiful. And it just makes me think of when digital stations, workstations for music first started to come out, and how a lot of people just mentioned or said or argued that, oh, it was removing the warmth that analog had, or that it just wasn't the same, while other people started to argue, well, it facilitates an amateur to learn this new skill set that originally would have to spend thousands of dollars just to get the proper equipment for. And it just streamlined everything, and it just makes me think how in the future people like me that actually enjoy the process, that's the point, the whole point of it, will be looked at if I'll just be compared to someone that argued that the gramophone was an efficient way of representing music because you weren't actually watching the performance or the human aspect of it. And don't get me wrong, I recognize that this is a flawed comparison and just flawed argument in general, but it just makes me think of how the future will look at it. And don't get me wrong, I still hold on to hope that this isn't the future that'll happen. In fact, I doubt it. As long as there's backlash, as long as it's never accepted and openly despised in a way, it'll never be accepted to culture. And as long as it isn't accepted to culture, it's not going to become mainstream enough. Well, it will, but as long as there's backlash for it, it's not going to become permanent. At least I hope. I just wonder if that I hold dear to me, to what I call myself, is going to be taken away from me. And if it were, what will I have other than a wallet to vote with? Or two options that I wouldn't even want, just leaving me without the thing that makes me. And I don't think it's too late for it now, although it's close to. I just wish we hadn't stayed as quiet as we did as a collective, because now what do I have other than a vessel that's looking for meaning in a world where it isn't wanted?